Today, you'll hear a success story from a company that historically relied on its office building as a foundational component for getting work done and how they transitioned to a remote workforce. I'm Lisa Ellen Smith, and this is Focus on Business.
Hi, I'm Sarah Miller, Vice President of Marketing and Strategic Communications for the Small Business Association of Michigan. SBAM exists to serve the small business community. In fact, we've been around for over 50 years. Our staff is passionate about the success of small business, and we all work very hard to try to make your day easier. How? Well, we do this through our advocacy work, through collaborations and partnerships, and through a variety of benefit offerings that really help business owners save time and money. We know how passionate small business owners are about your own businesses. You want to spend time working on your business, but often get bogged down with the day-to-day tasks of running a company. That's where SBAM can help. We take complex tasks off your plate and give you peace of mind. We've curated a suite of services that really help you where you need it most. Help navigating the complexities of business ownership through our comprehensive web resources. All members receive access to a weekly e-newsletter that is chock full of the latest regulations in an easy-to-understand format. Attract and retain talent with our suite of employee benefits, such as group health insurance and life and disability coverage. Stay compliant with easy-to-use and affordable services like payroll administration, COBRA administration, and employee handbook creation. Save money on the things you use every day, like office supplies, and even on items like shipping and credit card processing services. And be protected through our identity theft and cybersecurity solutions. And you can use our expert hotline for any HR and legal questions you have. I encourage you to check us out for yourself. With 4 membership levels from which to choose, we really do have something for all small businesses. Learn more at sbam.org.
Hello, and welcome to the show. Today we have Jacob Sabins from Clark Trombley Randers, and we also have Theresa Kent, who is the Customer Success Manager at Providence Consulting with us. Welcome. Thank you for being with us today. We're talking today about work from anywhere, and I think this is a really topical discussion. Primarily what we wanted to hear was, how did a business transition from at work to remote work? And Jacob, I think you are kind of a test case for us. Why don't you set the stage and tell us a little bit about your company and what your firm does?
Certainly. Well, thank you again, Lisa, for having us here today. Clark Trombley Randers, we're a mechanical and electrical engineering consulting firm. We design mechanical and electrical systems for commercial construction projects. Our business, we've been in business in the Lansing area since 1961. We now have offices that operate in Grand Rapids and Mount Pleasant. And our business is a very relationship-focused business. It's reliant, our success is reliant on our ability to form and maintain strong and positive relationships with our clients. Approximately 90% of our business is repeat business from clients that have grown to enjoy working with us and trust us to do well for them. So our business places a high value on strong customer service and the ability to effectively connect with our clients in various different ways.
Well, I think that that's an important part of it. If you're going to transition to remote work, the chemistry and the partnership with your customers probably has a lot to do with how well you're going to succeed and then, of course, there's employee issues as well. Theresa Kent, can you also give us a lay of the land of about your firm a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Providence Consulting, we're an IT managed service provider. So basically, we're an outsourced IT company or vendor for small, medium-sized businesses around the greater Lansing area. And CTR is one of our clients, and they are a great success story for kind of this pre-COVID and industry focused on relationships. They run large software programs, and they're really dedicated to their office and kind of transitioning to a remote workforce. But Providence has been doing cloud-based solutions for Lansing companies for years, and so we really were able to, go into this pandemic prepared for our clients, and so excited to talk about kind of that role.
Well, I
with
happen
CTR
to know
today.
a little bit about Providence because the big boss, the owner over at Providence, is a regular contributor to the show, which is why we wanted to do this show. We wanted to have experts on who could really speak to making that transition. I have to say, I come from the old school business world. I have come into this new modern world kicking and screaming the whole way. I was not on board with casual Fridays or jeans on Fridays.
Yeah.
I mean, I was traditional. We wear suits to work. And so when, 10, 15 years ago, when remote work started to happen, I thought, no, why would you ever want to do that? For goodness sakes, that would just be ridiculous. How do you collaborate? How are you creative together? How do you pull a meeting together quickly? And, who knew, fast forward, even 5 years ago, we started using video conferencing. We're a digital marketing company. So my staff, they adopted all of this stuff around me. It just happened, right? And suddenly we are living in the Jetsons reality where everything is, I used to watch the Jetsons and they'd, bring up pictures of each other on the screen and think, well, that would be uncomfortable. What if you didn't have makeup on or something? Now I think about it every day. So, okay, let's back up just a little bit. Jacob, what was your situation pre-COVID? So start there and then let's go into how you got this done.
Well, what you were just describing sounded very, very familiar because our office is a very traditional office. We casual Friday is the same as Monday through Thursday. We are dressed for business casual type thing. We don't do jean Fridays or things like that. And everybody comes to an office. We all have office space. And so most of our meetings were in-person meetings where we were traveling to clients' offices or job sites and going over our designs. We're printing physical blueprints and taking them to meetings. And with our company being focused all over the state, that may involve several hours in the car each day. And so once we expanded into the Grand Rapids and Mount Pleasant markets, we really began to embrace the virtual collaboration tools at our disposal through Providence. We became very proficient first at Skype for Business and then with Microsoft Teams starting in probably 2018, 2017. And so we were using some of those tools and becoming very efficient at it, but we still felt people were most efficient coming to a physical office. That was how we conducted our business. Plus, a lot of our programs that we use to create building designs are very high-powered programs that require very strong workstations. And up until the last couple of years, that meant physical desktop computers. Laptops hadn't come along to be very efficient at providing that high-powered computing capacity that we needed. So we were very much exactly what you were talking about. Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Everybody's in their seats. Everybody's at meetings. We're doing what we're doing from a physical office environment, and we were very resistant and hesitant to change that until we were forced to.
Yeah, I probably let's see. We're a big partner in a software. A piece of software for marketing. And I've been going out to Boston every year and, they help the partners run their businesses better and they help their customers run the software better. And so we're kind of a consultant for a piece of software. So I went out there and this is maybe 10 years ago now, maybe 8 years ago, they started having presenters about having all remote employees and the pitfalls of that and the pluses of that. At that point, I was just watching this productivity issue, the sheer amount of technology that was not quite yet there at that time, and had sort of written it off as that's just not for me. And then this did happen. And I presume that there were a lot of things that you had to get ready. Tree, maybe you can hop in here because I think you are a big part of the reason why success was readily in the wind for Jacob. Right?
We're a very big success. I'll jump in before she does and say that we couldn't have done what we did without the help and the expertise and some of the forward thinking that Providence brought to the table.
That's something that a lot of organizations, Lisa, you kind of talked about it 5 years ago or so, we're dipping into virtual meetings and that was kind of as far as they waded into the waters, for lack of a better term. And CTR had this opportunity of they were growing their business, so they had remote offices. And so now they were trying to collaborate remote office work. And so they were already a little bit a step ahead of the game in terms of asking questions of how can we have team meetings better, virtual meetings better, collaborate, automate some processes, because when you switch to this remote work, then you have a whole going back to efficiency, and managers are now managing how productivity is going versus outcomes, which is a huge transition from a management standpoint. So CTR already knew and we're asking questions. And then of course, having us as an expert resource, we have, senior staff of IT experts. It's not just one person in your organization that has to research and find out, well, would this work? Would that work? Like to just go right to the resource and consultants that know best.
Well, I know a lot of companies had to scramble around and get remote quick. In my business, because we're digital marketing, we have customers all over the country, some of whom we've never met in person. And so these things unfolded. But there was some growing pains. There were some problems in just attitudes and norms and best practices for us. For example, we had to actually formalize a policy of video first. So when you're not on the phone and you are on an online meeting, it is now required that you have a camera. We will buy you one if you need one, but you have your video on. Even if your client doesn't have the video on, we have our video on because we know it's more personable. We know it feels more just the way it ought to be. So best practices, how you empower your team. Jacob, how do you feel like you empowered your team to get work done from anywhere?
Well, I think a lot of it really goes back to that pre-planning that we did by getting familiar with those systems and those technologies ahead of time, because our business model moved in that direction already by having multiple offices working together and collaborating. So we already were using some of those features with collaborating internally, and really the pandemic and the work from home directive forced us to get comfortable with collaborating externally with architects and building owners and developers and contractors on an external basis. People, many of whom were using these features in a limited fashion, but now we were all using them every single day. And so I think getting familiar and getting comfortable with those systems ahead of time really helped us to make a transition. I mean, the directive was signed on a Monday, so at the end of the day, Monday, our team tore down their workstations, and by Tuesday afternoon, the following day, we were back up and running and doing business as normal, but from everybody's home. And so having that familiarity up front and far in advance, learning those systems, that really helped us to just change our location, but not change what we're doing. And we found a lot of success with and raised a lot of clients' eyebrows, clients who were doing exactly like you were talking about. They were getting familiar with the technology and getting familiar with the systems as they were going. And we were able to jump in and say, hey, we're struggling with this. We're losing some time with some meetings. Could we offer to take over the meeting? We'll send out some revised links and some resources. Let us run it, and you'll still be the presenter, but let us kind of run the back end of things. And that really worked out really well. We were able to do that with some vendor presentations and some vendor training where we created the space for the vendor to operate and present to us, but it was all operating off of our systems.
Yeah, the external meeting piece of it can be a lot of anxiety for people. We in particular, I'm part of Rotary, and Rotary has a lot of members that are close to retirement. And our president at that time, when this directive came down, was close to retirement. He reached out to me because I had we were doing a little work for some web work for them. He reached to me and said, "How did you do that Zoom thing?" And so I just gave him a few minutes on it, and he bought himself an account and started running 200-person meetings with breakout rooms and, and raise your hand chat and Q&A and things like that. It's just not as hard. It doesn't have to have as much anxiety as people think. It's pretty intuitive, I think, is what I was going to say. But I want to talk about Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams, it's akin to you push a button and you might as well have just walked down the hallway and walked into someone's office to say, "Hey, Jacob, about that."
Yeah.
I mean, we just real quick hop in. You must be seeing a tremendous amount of adoption tree in all kinds of technology like that. Teams and Zoom are two that we like. What are some other programs that you like to see?
Yeah, we've seen a huge amount with Teams. One of the things that with Microsoft Teams that we love is almost every organization I feel uses Microsoft Outlook. And so to have Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Outlook and really the whole Microsoft suite, we're seeing the adaptability rate huge. It all integrates together. It works seamlessly with your same email. All of your files are together. We're seeing tremendous amounts of people asking about other Microsoft applications such as Microsoft Planner, Microsoft Booking, Microsoft Projects, and they all integrate together. And Microsoft Teams has been, just like Zoom, everyone was in the same boat at the same time of jumping in of what can we have. And one of the things that I think a lot of business owners need to understand is a lot of these tools are built into licensing they're already paying for. And that was one thing CTR knew is I already have an Outlook, or Microsoft license for my organization. What can I use right now because we have to? That gets, our job done. And Microsoft Teams is a huge part of it. And it's been an incredible tool. They are constantly adding improvements every day. And Microsoft Teams, what we found, has the built-in Microsoft security, which is another factor that many business organizations need to understand is your team just all went remote. So what could have been one office could have now turned into, you have 20 offices, right, that you're trying to manage. So having that built-in security feature and understanding that cybersecurity threats and attacks are unprecedented now because of those vulnerabilities of being remote, having it all in one place in a collaborative tool that kind of has an overarching network protection like Microsoft Teams does, it's been really fascinating. And it's great seeing how many organizations were able to quickly adapt using it.
I have to say that because I've heard your boss talk so much about security, get two-factor authentication on your
Yes.
Office
That's
365
huge.
account.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Everyone used to fight like, oh, I don't want my staff to have to take time. It's like you have to manage this, and that's really what we're going to see is so much in the future is this, security, data management, managing your staff, managing their login information, because we are all remote and we're going to move away from an organization firewall to the human firewall. And so keeping staff vigilant and remaining on top of that information and knowing how that works and how it connects. And more importantly, like CTR, knowing what's built in for you and having a team of experts at your hand saying, how can we manage this now with the tools we already have is a huge component in businesses adapting post-COVID.
Yeah, and we're starting to see, we're getting on the other side of this. We've seen how efficient our team can be using Microsoft Teams, using just having their workstations be able to be a little more mobile. I think that was one of the areas where if we could improve something that we did, would be to make a stronger investment in mobile hardware, laptops now that are more cost effective and have better performance, to allow our team to be able to not have to tear down their entire workstation to go remote, but they'd be able to go remote on a moment's notice. I think that's one of those areas where we're seeing we could have improved things. And with Microsoft Teams paired in with that, we're able to manage our workload. We're able to like you said, it's the same as being able to step outside of my office and stick my head in somebody's office and ask them a question. And so we found it to be incredibly efficient for us. And so now do we start looking at work from home as being an incentive for our team or a recruitment tactic where when the talent pool is very shallow or it's hard to find new talent, we can cast a wider net by being able to offer people, well, maybe you only come into the office 3 or 4 days a week, something, and get some extra work from home time.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at staggering. And I think people are, it wasn't, I think for some companies, it wasn't necessarily the technology that was the big barrier. I'm finding a lot of fatigue you don't have that 20-minute travel time cushion where you can reset your brain. You're just going from Zoom to Zoom or Teams to Teams, and that constant on button, and you're also living right here, So I'll be interested to see. I want to thank you both so much for being here. I will be interested to see who all goes back to work that doesn't have to, that's working from home right now. Let's also recognize there are people that never stopped working. So we thank all of those people as well.
Yes.
You guys have a great day, and we'll see you very soon, I'm sure.
This is Denise Policello with Focus on Law. Today, business interruption insurance. What is it? Do you have it? And do you really need to make a claim right now if you do? So business interruption insurance does exactly what it sounds like it does. It covers business losses from interruptions to your business, your inability to get on your property or conduct business from things like civil unrest or potentially pandemics. The thing is, you may not have it automatically. It's usually an add-on or an option. It's not usually part of your general liability coverage. So get a full copy of your policy and take a good look to see if you do. If you do have business interruption coverage, also be sure that you're reading the exclusions, because there are probably numerous exclusions that will try at least to prevent you from collecting on this claim. If you do have business interruption coverage and you're thinking about making a claim, you also need to very carefully document all of the proof of all of your losses due to this pandemic. Be meticulous about it, collect as much proof as possible, emails, documents, photos, anything you can, and put them in a file and keep that safe. Also, really analyze the cost and benefit of filing a claim at this time. If your loss is technically survivable, remember that you're likely to get a denial or pushback from the insurance company at least the first or second time. You may need to hire an attorney who's an expert in insurance claims to help you. This will take some time. It won't be immediate. So do the cost-benefit analysis and see if it's really worth it right now. Also remember that there may be legislative relief on the way. We don't know yet. There has been legislation introduced in Michigan and in numerous other states that would provide coverage for businesses due to pandemic losses, but nothing has come of this yet. So keep an eye on the legislation, track all of your losses, think about the cost-benefit analysis, stay safe, and stay healthy.
Focus on Law, brought to you by Policella and Associates, PLLC.
A recent Stanford University study revealed that 44% of the American workforce is now working from home. That's more than double what it was at the beginning of this year. Now, this presents some challenges for small business managers, and one of those challenges is how to keep people engaged. Now, technology can help, but technology alone is not the answer. We need to have a regular cadence of meetings and a way to help keep people engaged during those meetings. So let me give you an example of what we do to help with this. Each workday, 8:30 a.m., we have a all-hands meeting with cameras on. We have a theme of the day. Every day is a specific a set of agenda where we have reports of customers and sales and projects, those types of things. And then we'll spend another 15 minutes on the theme of the day. So Monday is Management Monday. During our theme time, we will spend time with goals and goal setting and what we're going to get accomplished this week. On Tuesday, we spend that time as a Thankful Tuesday. So it's a time to count your blessings. The team can share thanks to another team member or to a circumstance or a family member, and we mix it up so it's not always the same, hey, I don't know who to thank sort of thing, and it keeps them engaged and happy. And it gives them a time to also hear what other people are thankful for. On Wednesday, it's Wild Card Wednesday, and we do something wild or do something unusual to help get people talking and keep them engaged. On Thursday, it's Training Thursday. So we'll spend 15 minutes training on whatever topic that the whole company needs, or maybe we break out into smaller groups and have a tech group and an administrative group talking about their training needs. And Friday is Fun Friday, where we just come up with some kind of fun team building game that will help keep people engaged, get them talking. So we've had this cadence for about 4 months. We've tweaked it and changed some things around, but it seems to work, and it keeps people engaged, talking, and happy. Thanks for watching.
Focus on Tech, brought to you by Providence, making technology easier.
The executive producers of Focus on Business are looking for your stories. Stories from owners of established businesses that have come through amazing adversity, bucked the odds, found the next big thing. If you have a story, we want to hear from you. Go to our website and maybe we'll invite you onto the show.